Hi everyone, this video is an updated version for Magic Digital Badges, and I'm going to go through it step by step from the beginning because there's been some updates since the video was last made, so this should hopefully answer some questions as well. So the first thing is we're going to obviously load our extensions and we're going to run Magic Digital Badges for the first time here. When this runs, what it's actually doing is going to copy across two worksheets, pupil details and badge details. We no longer need sheet one if we don't want it. I am going to keep it because I'm going to use it later on for a bit with classes, and I'll show you how that works later. So we've got now our pupil details ready to put our names in, and we've got badge details ready to do our badges. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is set up your digital badges on Google Drive. Now I've got a badges folder here where I've created lots of badges, but they are just images. Any images you like, and you can make them into badges. So I look at this one, and that's an additional programming language badge or App Inventor badge. But like I say, it can be absolutely anything you want. Now once you've come up with your list of badges, you need to fill them in. So you can just put the name in. So if I put App Inventor and I put second programming language, I'll just do two. Two's enough. Now, the order they go in here, okay, is the same order that you do them across here. Okay, so this one here, so I did App Inventor first, and then I did second pro. There. Obviously, I can adjust these columns, etc., as I go. But now I've got my names, and I could obviously add as many as you like. There is no limit of how many badges you can have. But what you have to now do is add the image ID here. Okay, so it's a little bit tricky here. When you double click it, okay, you are on a file, all right, but at the moment I'm on a folder. Up here is my link is a folder. It's got a resource key, which may be the ID, but if I just press share, this will be an easier way to do it. And I go check on the link. You see this link here, it's file D. This bit after the D, before the next slash, is the ID of that file, that particular file. So I can copy it. And if I go back onto here, and that was the App Inventor one, I can paste it in there. So please remember, it's not a link, it is an ID. So let's do the second, I'll show you how to do that again. So second programming language, double click it. Easiest way probably to do it is click share, click on the change, and then get the ID. So then we go from that one there, before the next slash, copy it, go into here, and then paste it in there. And now I've got the ID of that one, okay? There is a empty column here for if you set up a scorecard. I'll come to that later. And you also have two extra columns, which is custom email. Okay, now if you want to edit the text that's sent, okay, you can edit it directly into there and change it. If you leave it blank, it will be the default message. And I'll leave it blank for now, and I'll show you how to what we do with editing later. Now, the next thing we want to do is set up some names and email addresses. Now, the first thing I want to show you is let's put in my name. Let's put that in there, and I'll put on this email address hstate@gmail.com, and I'll put let's make Dave, and then let's put this one not so magic at. Now, if I create some classes here, I can just say this kid's in 7W and this kid's in 8W or whatever the classes are in your school. However, I am not going to manually type those in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually use this worksheet here, and I'm going to rename it, and I'm going to call it my classes. Okay, I'll explain what that is in a second. So I have name, and I have class. Now, if I have the same names I had over there, so names, and I'm going to list what class they're in. So this person's going to be in 8W, and this person is going to be in 8Y, and they're going to be my class names. Now, in my pupil details, I'm going to use a formula here. I'm going to use equal V lookup, and I'm going to look up that value. Sorry, not that email. I'm going to look up the name, I'm going to comma, and then what you do next is select the range. So I'm going to go into here, and I'm going to select those two columns, and I'm going to say I want the second column, which is the column B. And you see it's already found it as a, and then I'm going to do false. It means I don't want it to be sorted, and I'll close my bracket. Okay, and press enter. What happens then is it puts 8W in. Okay, and then I can just drag that formula and it will work, and it's not applicable to these because there's nobody in there. Okay, the reason that is useful is when you generate the folders for the pupils, it will use the class details as part of the folder generation. Okay, But the problem is you want these badges to go with them the next year, and they might be in 9W or 9 something, and they might change. So actually what you can do is update this document, this sheet, with what their new class is, and it will automatically change here. And later on I'm going to show you how you rename those folders. Okay, so it's a really important bit there. The other thing I want to show you then is in here, you might notice that there's a hidden column. The columns A and B are hidden. Okay, and I'm actually going to unhide them because what is hidden here is a main folder ID, and also for every single person you have, there will be a folder ID, which is where their badges are saved. Now I hide this because you don't really need to do it. However, if you ever start sorting this data, you want to change the order, sort by class or whatever, you've got to sort that column as well, because otherwise it gets all mixed up and you start putting things in the wrong place. So I like to show that because actually that's really useful. A1 is where the main folder will be, and I'm going to show you how that works next. So we're all kind of half ready to go. We've got our people in and we've got our badges in. So we go to extensions, we go Magic Digital Badges, and we launch. Once the menu's launched, the first button we've got is Generate Drive Folders. And what that's going to do is if you haven't got a main folder, it's going to do that first. And then for every person you've got who hasn't got a folder, so there's nothing here, it will generate the folders. So I'm going to press that button. It's going to give you a little wait. You've successfully generated the main folder called Digital Badges. And the next task is doing the individual ones. And you can see the main folder ID is there. It's told you it's made 2, and each one's got an individual folder. Okay, so now if I go back to my drive, I will see a digital badges folder. See it here, digital badges folders, and inside it is created a file for each one of the pupils. Okay, and it's actually shared that file with that pupil as well. So if I look at the sharing options, you can see it's actually been shared with hdata@gmail.com. There's a viewer. The reason it hasn't come up for this is because it's the same email address. It's the owner, so it's slightly different. But that's automatically shared with the pupil once you set that up. So now I've got that, I can actually assign badges. Now, in order to assign a badge, let's say I want App Inventor, that badge, and I want second programming language in that badge. So let's say I want to put them, it has to be a Y and it has to be a capital in there. Now I can press Assign Badges, and it will assign them the badge, and I'll show you what it does. Now I could use custom email text by ticking that, but I haven't done that as you saw. So I'm going to just assign badges. It's going to run, check those folders. It's going to copy the file across. See, it says change to copied. It'll do it for the next one, and it's done 2, and it'll tell you how many it's done. You can only copy 100 badges at a time. Okay, so it will stop after 100. You can just press assign badges again, and it'll do the next 100. But there is a limit of 100 because otherwise it'll time out. So it's set to 100 or something there. Now, if I go back to that folder and look in each one, if I go into this one, this has got the App Inventor badge there, and this one has got the second programming language badge there. I can also go to my email, and I've got the default. You see there, it's been shared folder with me, and in the default message here, you have congratulations, you've been given a new badge. Click here to go to your folder, and you go to their folder, and they can see their badge. A couple of things with these folders. These folders are yours; they're on your drive, but they are shared with the pupils. So the pupils have access to view them, but they're on your drive. Because of that, though, they can look at that folder to see their badges, but they can also embed that folder into like a Google site or something like that. So it's a really good way to demonstrate and view the badges they've earned. But they will get the email. Now let's try and do the badge details. Let's do a custom email text for Dave, and let's do well done on your new badge. And custom email is a new badge on the subject line. Okay, so there is that one. And I mean, if I actually just go to help a minute, and I go to the user guide here, is it going to open? Let's open it up. If I go to the user guide, and then actually we go down to the custom email part of the user guide. I'm just going to find where it is here. You can use these 2 codes. Okay, so if you would like to include the URL to the folder, you can. And if you'd like to include the name of the pupil, you can use those codes. So if I copy these codes, and inside my email, so well done on your new badge, and I put in there the name one I'm going to put in there. So name, and then I might do full stop, control enter to new line. Here is the link, and then I'm going to put that in there. Okay, that should then work and show that. So if I actually go back on this one, close that one off. If I now try it again, so I'm going to use a custom email. This time, so it's Dave, so I'm going to give him the App Inventor badge. But this time when I assign badges, it's going to use the custom email, not the default email. So let's wait, see it's copied it, one badge. Let's go to the email and we'll have a look. It's going to come in, see no subject. Oh, that hasn't worked. That is rubbish. Okay, so the reason it didn't work was because that badge was for the second programming language, okay, and the actual badge I assigned was for the App Inventor, which is why when it did custom email, there was nothing there, which is why it came in as blank. So, intentional mistake there. So what I can do to show you what it should have done is actually, if I, so it's badge details, second programming language. So if I actually delete that from there and I put a Y in instead, okay, and then I press assign badges custom email. This time it will work because it's the right badge. So let's run that. It will copy that, and actually in that pupils folder there'll be 2 of those now. But if I now go to the email, check the email. Here we go, new badges. Well done on your new badge, Dave Stay. Here's the link, so you can adjust your badge in your email like that, no problem. Okay, so that's those ones. What I want to show you then is another button we have is rename folders. Now remember earlier I mentioned the pupil changes class. Okay, so let's stick with Dave. Dave's should be 8Y. So we go here. It says 8Y Dave State digital badges. Okay, well Dave State's just changed to 8Z. So we need to make that change. So what we're going to do is we're going to change the classes. We're going to change his class here to 8Z, and automatically it's going to filter in here. But what hasn't changed is his folder's still called 8Y. So we're going to press rename folders, and it's going to go through all the folders, and it's going to tell us how many it's actually renamed. It's renamed 1, which was Dave's, and it's been renamed. Okay, so that is what is a design for, is if the pupil changes classes. However, it also works if the pupil's name changes. Okay, so if their name changes at all, you can just change their name and do rename folders, and that'll work as well. So that's what that button's for. Right, other options are creating a leaderboard. So if you want your badges to be worth a certain amount of points, that is what create a leaderboard is for. So if we press create leaderboard, it's going to add another worksheet called leaderboard to our digital badges, and it's going to also add some information into that empty column I left on the badge details. So we've successfully added it, and you can adjust the points value. So if we go to badge details now, we've got points value, and by default, any that were there have been given a 0.1 point. But you can change those to be whatever point value you like. And then on leaderboard, you can see here that Dave's got 2 badges because he's got 2 points. So this will automatically update, okay? And if you make changes, you can always refresh the leaderboard, okay, and update it. So let's add this second programming language here. Go back to I go back to the standard template. So what we should see happen is there's 2. They've both got 2 each now. On the leaderboard, it's refreshed. Okay, if it hasn't automatically refreshed, that's what refresh leaderboard is for. Okay, but that hopefully should just happen there. Okay, the last thing I want to show you then is a reset worksheet. Okay, if something goes wrong or you just want to start again, you can use the reset worksheet. So if I press this, you can get a warning because this is going to completely start everything again. So are you sure you want to reset? Yes, I am sure. Okay, I've successfully reset the worksheet. What that has actually done, okay, is that hasn't changed, the badges haven't changed, but pupil details have changed. And what it's done is it has deleted any folder IDs and the main folder there. So it completely removed them. So basically, we're right back at the beginning, whereas if we want to do this again, we have to generate drive folders, and it will create me a new main folder and create me some new folders for each pupil I've got. So it's sort of like if something's gone wrong, you need to start again. That's what it's for. Okay. The other thing but I can actually put this back because I've already got my folder here. This is my main folder. If I actually just take that ID and copy it, and I pop it back in there, I've now just fixed it, and I've actually reset it. Same with this one. This was the folder ID. So I take this folder. This was for me, the Huel State one. And if I find Huel State, pop that one in there. I've actually now gone back to normal, and I can do that the same with the Dave State one. And I can nick that one, get that ID, and actually that reset I've just undone. Okay, but that's basically what it does, is it removes everything so you can start over and the buttons will work again. As I was saying earlier, if I need to resort this, so at the moment it's just that wasn't sorted. If I want to sort it though, I must make sure I include column B in my sorting. But what I must also do is not include column A. Okay, I don't want to sort column A. And then you do data. So we go data, sort range, advanced sort. It has headers. I want to sort by name, and I press sort. It's now actually switched them around, and it's switched the IDs around as well. And that's really important and really key, because obviously these names are linked to these folders. So when you're sorting, just be a little bit careful there. Okay, that's it for digital badges, I think. It is very popular. Hopefully you'll find it very useful. If you do have any questions or problems, do let me know. And if you'd like to see any improvements, by all means, let me know and I'll see if I can do them. Donations always welcome, and also my book's there. If you are a teacher and you're using G Suite a lot, please do check it out. All right, thanks very much. Bye.